Good morning. I just wanted to come on here right fast. I just threw a head on my head and, you know, not really. Anywho, you get what I'm saying. But I just wanted to come on here right fast just to do like some more educational or heartfelt feelings of getting what's going on in this frequency game or world that we live in. I don't parade around and come out my mouth and say like, well, I'm a high priestess or I'm a hierophant or I'm a plug to the gods. And even though that's on like my Facebook, okay, I just don't walk around the streets saying like, I'm this, I'm that, I can do this for you, I can do that for you, and I can make all your dreams come true. I can, like other people. And it's not that I can't do those things. Okay? The reason why I didn't like push myself out into the open like you see other people do and that want to talk junk or clown me or whatever is the fact that I want people to see the difference in real high priestess versus imitation fake high priestess. Because I had people all around the world using me and invading my vessel and knowing who I was even at my birth. Okay? And giving me the short end of the stick, but also giving my parents the short end of the stick too. You know, and them knowing that that's what they're doing. All right? And let's say family members did get paid off of me, because they did. But they didn't get paid true wealth, like what I'm truly worth. Like that. Or even what they are truly worth. Okay? Because there's money for existing. And they don't want to like tell you that. And if you exist the right way, you will get what God has for you. They don't want to tell you that either. But that's what I'm proving. Okay? And that's what I want people to understand. And that's why I'm doing this as a short, like, not a tutorial or anything, because I'll get into doing those things later on. All right? I'm really making sure I catch all my haters. This is a big, big thing that I'm about to say. And everyone else hasn't understood it. And if they did understand it, they would, or they should, think twice before they continue doing certain things. Especially not just to me, but to other people that are striving and moving in the direction that I'm going. Okay? Now, I could say all day, I'm the highest frequency in the land, and I outrank everyone here. And believe it or not, different practitioners of all walks of life from places around the world said, oh, well, I'm going to humble her. I'm going to break her down. I'm going to make sure she knows that she just can't parade around here like she the queen or she the king and she ain't got to go through me type shit. Okay? And on the contrary, you're not the highest of the land because you used me in order to get to the position that you are in. And I want people to understand they've used other gifted people, gifted black people like myself, to do the same. All right? And just because you look one way on the outside, your insides are not made the same. So I don't want people to think that way. We do not bleed the same. You know, there's a reason that there's a difference in our color, in our structures, in our feet, in our teeth, in everything, in our freckles, in any part of our body, because that tells a story about who you are, what you've dealt with, what you've been through. You might think that this mole on my face just is a beauty mark. But you know what God thinks? God says that mole resembles the star in the sky that was planted at her sick soul. It's like that. Okay? And you discover these things as you go through your inner corridors of yourself. As you grow, learn, heal, and evolve, and you don't believe that people from a past life come back into this life to fuck with you, you're sadly mistaken, because they do. And the reason why they do is because the world is on a loop. Okay? The systems that are in place aren't bad systems. It's just the people that operate them are bad people, and they chose to recycle souls versus allowing souls to like evolve. You know, they didn't want to create evolution, because evolution will show the difference in who's supposed to be where and who's entitled to what and who's actually truly wealthy. That's why I did what I did, so the truth can come out in its entirety the right way. So people of color aren't seen as ridiculous, low down, dirty, devils, the scum of the earth, or oh my God, how dare you want to compare me to those people. And anyone that talks like that, I want you to get it in your head really quickly. They're not your friend. They are a part of the devil pack, and they don't want you to succeed. They will do any and everything in their power for you not to succeed. And if they are of black skin, okay, and they think and they talk and they act like that, trust me, their soul underneath is something else. Of a different color, a different race, a different ideology, way of thinking. That's why I look at how people act and their actions and how they treat me. That lets me know where they belong and who they belong to. Because you can have a person of a different skin color, but they understand your insides. And you can say to yourself, how do they do that? How can they comprehend and follow along and get me better than my own folks? Because that's where you really, truly belong, with those people. You know? It's hard to build with folk that don't have integrity, and you are a person of integrity. And it doesn't matter what people see. You know, people don't question your insides. That's something you have to reveal yourself. And that's only if you want to. It's kind of like you see someone and they are doing things that you just don't agree with, you know, it's okay for you to say like, hey, I ain't going with you. I'm just not. You know, and you don't owe people an explanation on why you're not. And even if people get, you know, bent out of shape about it, it's like, oh, well, you'll get over it. You'll be all right. Truth of the matter, some of them won't. Truth of the matter is they will retaliate. truth of the matter is, they will try to take you down because you tell them no. As your frequency rises, you are met with the worst of the worst of the worst people in the world. It's not the other way around. It's not the way that they teach, meaning they tell you people celebrate your growth and they applaud your successes. That's only if it's within the limitations of what they have going on in this world. It's designed to keep a lid on the other parts of yourself that are limitless, because they don't want you to discover your limitless potential. Okay? And I'm here to prove why that is a wrong way to be. You know, why removing the dominance and the control and the MK Ultra and the we're all the same, why that should not be here. Okay? So the people that are in control of this world, they wanted to make me the opposite of what I am. All right? They didn't want me to be looked at as, you know, what's the word that people use? A catch, like the all the right qualities in all the right places, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, the whole gambit. I'm the package in the good way. Okay? They want me to be seen as the opposite, like downtrodden, a hoe, like shaking my titties in the ass or selling my titties in the ass. And with my titties out exposed, like I've heard them say these things. You know, they said the most cruelest things that people can say and plan and come together on, and then they orchestrated it as well, you know. And so they look at it like, well, why isn't she conforming to what we put out there? Because that's what she's supposed to do. I'm not like everyone else. God designs all of us different. And if God wants us to be, let's say, a grower of trees, all right? And then the people you are around don't want you outside, and somehow you keep escaping and going outside and being a grower of trees. And guess what they try to do? Then they want to put you on a concrete padding and lock you in. Because until you conform, they won't let you out. Because it's some weird ass people out here that have a problem with trees growing and living and being the keepers of history of their fuck shit. Henceforth, why a lot of times they cut them down. Okay? But that's an example. Now, the people that wanted me to look and be the opposite, they also thought when they looked at prophecy and after they found me and figured out who was the prophecy, okay, they said, well, we know how to affect her. We're going to affect her love life and her financial life. And then she's going to conform to what we want. And then she's going to do and say and be how we want, or else she will not be able to receive what's rightfully hers. Okay? I have proved for that to not be the case. Okay? I know I am a wealthy woman. I know I have billions that are in bank accounts that people have stolen, that money is sitting, that are in insurance policies and other things that are mine. I know because God herself and himself told me in my ears. And the truth about education, real education, meaning when you educate yourself outside of conformity education, conformity education keeps you a certain way, keeps you at a certain frequency, and it doesn't allow you to go past a certain threshold. It makes your mind stop at a certain point. But when you educate yourself, it unlocks different parts of yourself, you know, and it's not forced growth. It is integrated growth, meaning as you understand it, so does your DNA, so does your nervous system, so does your blood, so does your brain, and then it goes through your whole vessel. And it's like, all right, after I got that concept, let's move on to the next. It brings back the eagerness of learning. And that's what we were supposed to be utilized for here on this earth as humans, of any arena, any sector of wherever you were born. Okay? The main goal is growth if you live here. Period. You are not supposed to be the same. You are not supposed to stay the same. You are not supposed to go back to your past life and relive your past life as if that life still exists for you today, because it does not. The world moves forward. You must move forward with it. That means you adjust with it. You just don't conform to the politics or the education or what you see on TV or what you hear on the block. You must have some independent thought yourself. And then you must have a level of confidence within yourself to say, you know, this does not feel right to me. So therefore, I am not going to do it. Okay? And whether you decide to express that out loud to other people or not, that's up to you. That's up to you. But what I want you to understand is this: even if you don't say it out your mouth, they already understand it when you choose to go the other way. They already understand it when you're like, oh, I'm going to go get something to eat. Nah. You know, or don't y'all want to do something different? Like, we done this yesterday. Or even if you're like, you know, my mother's calling me. Girl, I'll call you back. Okay? They intuitively get it. And these are negative folks that use their intuition. They use it for negativity, though. And they use it to tap into you so you can't use yours. They make sure to cloud your mind so you can't think clearly for yourself. So that's why I've said in so many other readings, like if you read any of my work or if you listen to any of my videos, you must know yourself, what you into, what you like, how you go about your day, about you, like what makes you tick, what's up with you in every area of your life. And the reason being is because people gonna throw their shit at you. So think about it like this: spirituality touches on things you cannot see, but you can feel it. All right? And then your emotions come out of it. Okay? But I'm just going to use something crazy. let's say, because this is what they try to do to me, okay? Let's say you know somebody, didn't know somebody. I ain't gonna say this just one person you know, but it's a particular person, all right? And someone has to exude what they don't like in themselves in order to project what they don't like to put it on you. Okay? So let's say that person has stinky feet or a stinky lady part, right? So they have to go through the process to have those stinky feet first and to have that stinky hoo-ha first in order to project that onto you. Okay? And so people think like what I do is so much rocket science. That's why I'm explaining it all. I'm just giving all the secrets away because I don't give a fuck. I'm making sure this shit stops. Because I want growth here. I demand growth here. And I'd be damned if I'm not going to get it. Because this is my motherfucking world. This is my goddamn planet. I changed it over to the age of Aquarius for a motherfucking reason. So everybody can shine independently of all the fucked up ass people in the world. Because how else is the fucked up people in the world going to learn? How else are they going to grow? How else are they going to see that, hey, what I'm doing isn't right? How else are they going to say to themselves, damn, this has been a tactic I've used for 20 years and I shouldn't be using this shit no more. I shouldn't be doing this no more. And then some of them really not going to get it. So then God just snatched their gifts and they're like, oh, fuck, now I get it. That's when they're forced to deal with themselves. You get it? So the more you stand out independently, individually, yourself automatically separates them from you. So I'm saying this to say, like, let's say your feet start stinking. And you say to yourself, hey, my feet ain't never stunk. Like, my feet ain't never peeled. My feet ain't never had no odor. My shoes ain't never, and then what? How's this a thing? How's this possible? And you scrub and scrub and scrub, and it just ain't going away. And you like, dang, let me go to the foot doctor. And I'm just being a little extra, you know. I don't know. You might go to the nail shop as a foot doctor. You might go to the actual foot doctor. You might just go to the store and get some foot cream. But let's say you do all the shits and you still left with the stinky feet. I need you to think spiritually. All right? I need you to think, who around you got stinky feet? I need you to think like, who want to wear your shoes? I need you to think like, when the last time you was around somebody and they took the shoe off and the smell said whoosh, and it shocked you and killed you? I mean, that's what smells do to me. You know, I mean, and it does it to other people too. I didn't seen it, but I'm saying, come on, turn your common sense on. Turn your spiritual senses on. Turn your recognition on. Go back in your memory bank. Rewind your brain, okay? And say, let's take this back to, even if it was 30 days ago, or a year ago, or 5 years ago. You know, because you just thinking like, well, stinky feet is a common thing. And, you know, I know Ted has suffered with that for about 12 years. And you know what Ted is doing? Ted don't want to suffer with it no more. Because Ted is afraid of his stinky feet. And then Ted is afraid also to go to the doctor about his stinky feet because he is afraid they're going to say something else. Like, you got a tumor in your toe. You know, and Ted, we're going to have to cut off your little pinky toe. And it's going to be hard for you to walk, Ted. You know, and we're going to have to get you a prosthetic pinky toe. So guess what Ted does? Instead of doing preventative maintenance and going to the doctor to figure it out, getting down to the root or tutor of the problem of his stinky feet, Ted would rather let that motherfucker gangrene. Ted would rather transfer all the stinky feet by doing stinky feet smells, honey, spells every day. And he might do that shit 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day. And then guess what Ted wants to do to seal the deal? Ted will get into a stinky feet crew. And then Ted will find a stinky feet crew and he will recruit them and say, hey, I got a coven. They just don't specialize in stinky feet. They specialize in stinky hoo-haws too. And between us, the stinky feet crew, and the stinky hoo-ha crew, we can project this on everybody else, and then we're going to have some clean feet and some clean hoo-has. And while the rest of the world be stinking. And you might say to me, Puda or Kiki, you are over-exaggerating. You are making light of something that is just already crazy. And I just don't believe that that's a thing, but it is. Because before, this is what people don't like to go this far back in their brain and actually think about. Before traditional medication, what did you have? You had an herbal doctor. You had a practitioner. And that practitioner could be the dark or the light. It depends on what you are coming to him or her for and what you want to produce. The outcome of whatever you can afford. Okay? Now, this is the way of projection that this is what people do and this is how they get down, da 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 da. And you could say, well, how does this affect your finances or your love life? Well, let's say I get the stinky feet. And because I am a health conscious person, and I'm like, oh my God, my feet have never stunk. I need to figure out what I need to do. I need to remedy this problem. I need to come up with something. I'm going to talk to a dermatologist. I'm going to talk to anyone I need to, and I'm going to formulate a plan. It produces a business, doesn't it? And it has a favorable outcome, and it does work, right? Okay? Because that's using your brain in the right way. Especially when you don't think people are attacking you spiritually. But that's just the right way that you would utilize your brain outside of going to the doctor. Outside of getting stuff from the store. Outside of even going to the nail shop and getting your feet done. You know. You try all that you can to help yourself. To heal yourself. It's just that some people are stuck in the old way. And then you have some people that have integrated the new way, which is traditional medicine. Okay? Then you have other people that will combine the two. All right? And they will either elevate you or destroy you. But then there's the fourth person that will create a solution for everyone. And that's the one that produces the biggest amount of business because it helps the collective, the body of earth as a whole. All right? That person that looks at their stinky feet and refuse to accept their funk as a way of living, breathing, walking on this earth because they know their body and they understand I did not have this before. And some people don't think, I didn't have this until my husband came. Because you don't want to look at your husband like that. I didn't have this until my wife came. But you don't want to look at your wife like that. This is where I am bridging the gap of the love, okay? They want the love to distort your view. And they want you to look at them as loving. And like, I would never do that to you. I would never stink at your feet on purpose. I would never stink at your hoo-ha on purpose. I love you. I care about you. And I loved you when I met you and you had clean feet and a non-yeasty lady part, right? But I'm going to love you even more with your stinky feet. Because we're together. We got stinky feet together. We have dirty bottom parts together. And I'm trying not to laugh as I do this. Because I'm trying to show you people's thinking, okay? And the negative thoughts of projection and the practitioner's way versus the medical doctor's way versus the negative thought of a person's way and the positive thought of a person's way, and the different ways it can produce a result that is in your favor or not. And the reason that something would not be in your favor because you don't see certain people as your enemy. You don't see that your aunt could do you dirty, or your brother could do you dirty, or your mama could do you dirty, or your daddy could do you dirty, because they hold titles in your life. You don't see that your uncle could set you up, or that your sister could throw you under the bus, or that your cousin can sell you out to the whatever. They hold titles in your life. And you don't look at those things as titles. You look at it as, now, this is my family. These are my friends. These are my coworkers. All right? You don't think that your niece or your nephew is diabolical until you start to think. You're like, oh my God, my cousin was raised in a diabolical household. Why wouldn't her diabolicalness go out into the world? Because no one has encouraged her to change. No one, they might have said, hey, this isn't right, don't do this, or you shouldn't be this way. But they don't give her the information or the education to enlighten her brain and say, show me a different way to be. Show me a different way to act. Help me get past this part of my life, because some people need more help than others, and they just don't know how to ask for it. And then there's a fifth way of being, which is me. I don't wait for you to tell me. I don't wait for someone else to educate me. I don't ask for permission. I know everyone needs the information that I have because I need it. I understand what hurt or pain feels like when it's silent, when it's out loud, when it's confused, and when it's direct and understood. And then I know how to translate it no matter which way it comes to me in whatever form. Okay? And I deal and I handle it. And it doesn't matter if people listen. It doesn't matter if they understand it. It doesn't matter how they feel. This is the positive version of I don't care. Because what's going to happen is the thought is going to change their frequency. Their thought is going to cause a reaction. The thought itself, because either they want to be stuck, they're afraid that they're stuck, or they don't realize that they're stuck. It doesn't matter which version, the thought is going to change their frequency. And then I will see what I am dealing with in order to correct what is, I'm not even going to say wrong. Because I'm not trying to control your life, but I'm here to help you adjust it. Adjust it to meet what's happening. Adjust it to meet, I would say me, but just the world around you. It's kind of like, wake up. That's the woke of life. It's like, see the trees, they're green. Remember I was talking about the trees? And they didn't want the tree person outside because they're making the trees grow and they coming alive and they blossoming, they blooming. They producing some good air, not some bad air. I'm that person. Okay? And I'm that person that even in the dark, even in the basement, even underground, all right? Even without resources, I can still produce because I know what to do. I know what to utilize my mind. I rather put good thoughts in my mind to keep my mind fresh because my mind is my vehicle. That's what moves my body. That's my car. That's my truck. Okay? And it's also my home. That's my dwelling. So I want to keep it as clear, clean, pristine, and running great. And how do you do that? It's the thoughts that you're going to take in, which is also the people that you're going to take in. Because believe it or not, you absorb what you take in. And you can choose to absorb certain shit, or you can choose not to absorb certain shit. And people will get offended when you don't want to absorb their shit. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. And they're like, how are you cool with me being offended? Because you was cool with me being offended. Touche. Like, your opinion isn't the only one that matters. Just like I know mine isn't the only one that matters. But however, my opinion has been proven right. That's why it will matter regardless of what you think. Okay? Because not only did I demonstrate it on myself, I demonstrated it on others without affecting their life. Okay? Even though everyone did things to affect my life, I did not do deliberate things to affect other people's will or choice. That is the difference here. No manipulation, no coercion, no setup, no orchestrated plan, no manipulation of the mind or the body, none of that. I don't want to force change down your throat. Force change doesn't stay. I rather it's integrated. I'd rather us reach a place where it's understood and we understand each other. But I also respect the fact that if you don't understand me and my way of life and my way of being, that it's cool, and I just walk away. You know, um, I know that things can make people angry and make people retaliate in a lot of different ways. And I'm a human being as well too, because trust me, I want to. And the reason why I stopped fighting people, literally, physically, is because what I understood most of all, I'm older. And what happens to older people when you fight? We go to jail. And then the immaturity of older people is they want to fight you. They want a confrontation with you because they want to send you to jail. They get a kick out of it. They want you all in your feelings because they get a kick out of it. They want you all down and out. They get a kick out of it. You know, it's just the thing of bringing you lower makes them feel better or higher. Instead of rising to the occasion of whatever the occasion is. Okay? And the reason why people don't is that they have to accept where they are. They have to accept themselves. And see, that's what people thought that I did not do. They thought I was living an illusion. And they thought I did not accept myself. But in order to change any parts of yourself, you must accept yourself. And every hardship that I went through, even as a child, I accepted it. Even if I didn't understand it, I went through learning to understand it. Okay? Like, an example I'll give is men. Most men, they don't do a lot of talking. All right? Unless they have to. They do a lot of action. But most of the action sometimes is kind of competition. It's cutthroat because it's like the doggy dog of the world, you know, because they out there making the money, you know. And certain men around me, they got that testosterone that's on at 1,000, you know. And I don't mind it, right? I actually like it. Like, I prefer a manly man, meaning what my father is to me and what I think my father is to me versus what other people might think or see or have a perceived perception of what my father is to me. Okay? And the way I can explain this is like this. I see my father go to work, a job, every day. I see my father go to his business and work that every day. I see my father come home, do yard work, plumbing work, every day. Okay? And he takes days off here and there. And it's not that he can't. He's his own boss. He chooses to still do this every day. And the reason why he chooses to still do it every day, because he knows every time he puts someone else in his place on the days that he decides not to go, they fuck it up. And a lot of times in his mind, it's like, less confusion. You know. And it gives me something to do. And some of the stuff I enjoy doing because I don't look at it as a job. It's just a feel good for me. I've figured out my niche like that. So imagine when I get a man and he only want to work a first job or a second job. Or he looks at me when I'm working one job and I have a business and then I want to get another business as, I'm working too much. Or he's like, oh, honey, you don't have to do this. I'll do that and I'll do this. He wants to take over my shit and then wants me at home because he feels like I should be cooking and cleaning in the house and watching after some kids or something, or he's preparing to impregnate me. And I'm like, I get it, but my quarrel is this. If I tell you how my mommy is, and I tell you how my daddy is, and they're workers, they're worker bees, all right? Strong. Two strong ones. They both operate the same way. Work a job, work a business. Extra hobbies. Their kids are the same. Same way. Got the same DNA. And when I'm enthusiastic about new shit, exploring new things, doing a new business, doing this and doing that, and then you want to stifle that. In my mind, I'm already like, damn, how long is this going to work? It's not going to work long. Because my creativity is already being stifled by someone that I care about. And then when I try to conform to that, I'm losing parts of myself. And then people know that they're doing that to other people. Just like the people knew that they were doing it to me. Because they wanted me in a certain box. Instead of letting me bloom and blossom. And then every time I did bloom and blossom, guess what they did? They would snatch it from me. But instead of snatching it in my face, they snatch it behind my back. That's why I'm changing everything. Because people deserve to know who their devils are. People deserve to know when folk get close to you and they plan to sabotage your life, you deserve to know who that is before they are able to do that to you. Because that's your hard work. That's your brain. That's your creativity. That's your moneymaker. That's your God-given talent. That's your intuition. That is your soul being stripped away from your body. That's your spirit being taken for granted. That's the essence that God put in you that other people want, but they don't want to learn from you in order to get it. Like cultivate it. Like as if they had their own garden. And everyone does. And they're supposed to cultivate their own garden. But no, what these folk like to do, they wait till your garden starts growing those seeds, producing that harvest, and then they want to come through and take it. So I created that fifth element thing of, I'm trying to think of the word I want to say in reference to a garden. There are these foods, right? They automatically produce like this poison on the outside of the food to protect the food itself that's growing in your garden from the bugs attacking it, right? And I think they're moonshine foods, moon shade, something like that. It's like moon something. All right. Now there's a list of these foods, okay? Fruits and vegetables that grow in a garden that are that type. But guess what a practitioner can do with those foods? They can combine the outsides of those fruits and vegetables, and it turns into a clear substance that's undetectable by the naked eye, and it can cause a natural death. That's if you want to use the pesticides in the wrong way to hurt a person. Okay? The right way is how the food is grown naturally. It automatically has that protective layer. All right. And so no matter what comes at it, okay, it's not going anywhere. And it's still going to be able to be harvested, and you can eat from it when it's ripe to be picked. And then you as the human, when you're ready to eat it, our bodies are designed to be able to take certain poisons anyway. So we're going to live and enjoy the food. Okay. But these are people that don't want you to enjoy your harvest. They don't want you to enjoy your food. And you have to understand and know your body to know how much poison you can take. You have to understand and know yourself to know how much you can be able to withstand to still be alive. It's kind of like you learn how to bring yourself back from the brink of death. And I don't know another way to put it, but the main thing that always stood out in my brain is I looked at my parents like two gods all the time. I looked at how they don't take days off, how they go to work, how they talk to folk all the time, how they're cultivating new relationships, how people trust them and trust them with their kids and all kinds of things, right? I look at what they produce and how they never stop producing, no matter what the fuck was wrong. I mean, someone could have died and they're like, damn, that's fucked up, but we still got to go to work. We're going to work. But we're going to make it to the funeral. We're going to work. You know, even at the hospital, it's like, I'm in the hospital. They're still working, you know. And the main thing I'm trying to say is this. I said to myself, would I be able to make it if one of my parents died? Would I be able to make it if both of my parents died? Would I be able to make it in this world if I removed my parents and I relied on my spouse? Would I be able to make it? Okay? And then there was a time when I removed my parents in a nice way and wanted to rely on my spouse. And you know what I had to come to terms with and realize? My spouse at the time removed my independence. And it was done so smoothly that I didn't recognize it until he left. And he left like it was designed to leave me a certain way and in distraught and not able to pick myself back up and put myself together. And I recognized that. And I said, damn, this is some hurtful shit. You know? Number one, blinded by what I thought was love. Because I was young. I'm in my 20s. You know? Blinded by what I thought was love. And then, even in my 20s, I had a business. I worked a job. I was going to school. I was curious about new shit. Not realizing he was stifling those things by not encouraging it or putting little salty things in words and things, or the things that I was great at, he would take over them as if he was helping me to remove me from those things. Meaning, I had a cleaning business, but before I had a cleaning business, I cleaned immaculate. And he did that. And I'm like, oh, wow. So I don't have to do it anymore. Cool. He's like, no, all you got to do is just cook. You know, go to work and cook. That's it. I'm like, wow, okay, I can do that. No problem. But the spell work was so well choreographed and organized that I didn't pay attention that this nigga never worked. The work he did was cleaning up. All right? I didn't pay attention that he took care of all the things that made me independent in the first place. That made him look at me and say, man, she's a catch. Or did he say it? Maybe it was other people that steered him in my direction. That told him. Okay? Now this is the other part about love. When they throw the little sex game on you real good, you know, it makes you sit back and you have to think. Like, is this lust or is this love? Was this for my highest good or for my biggest downfall? What was this? And then as I cried and emotionally separated from life, I had to think about all those things. Okay? Because I wanted a real life with this person. Okay? Like most people, you go, you get married, you have kids, and you grow. You know, you have a thriving household, thriving children, picket fence, dog, whatever. I saw that in our future. But I also saw other family members jealous of it too. I also saw other family members putting salt in the game too. I also saw him not sure about me. Okay? And then the other part that kind of sealed the deal in reference to how he thought he should be or treat me or not look at me as quote unquote marriage material. It's because outside of me having a business, working, having a hobby, I partied every day. I went out every single day. Mixers, clubs, networking events, good music, good food. Maybe I learned something, you know, or get a nice, good couple of drinks. Winding down from work, going out with my girlfriends. And he was okay with it. He gave me money and he encouraged me to go out, you know. But he gave me money because he's like, hey, so the guys, you know, I don't have to get money from other men like that. And I saw jealous friends of our relationship. I didn't understand until after we broke up all that was designed around the attack of the relationship to make the relationship no more. Because at one point, me and him were in sync with each other. And no one could break our bond. But then you have people that come in and they're negative Nancy's and they throw all of this shade. And it makes a person second guess you, sidestep you. Ultimately, they hurt you and they betray you. And then they leave. Thinking that they're doing the right thing because of what's being projected or presented. Not fully understanding that this is a destroyer orchestrating destruction in your life. Okay? Because me and this young man, we loved each other. We still loved each other. We still would go back to each other and all those things. But then it became a game of some form of tug of war and my emotions against growth. I'm saying all this to say everything that people have put me through, I went through it 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. But every time I got stronger every single time, because the worst blow was in my 20s with him and with another young man. I was still in my 20s. And those two were loves of my life. But that was the worst. And I refused in my 20s to ever be that person again, because I knew what it felt like to be independent. I knew what it felt like to be codependent. I knew what it felt like to just be not taken seriously and taken for granted. To knowing what it feels like to be honored and celebrated. And I knew what toxic love was, and I also knew what genuine love was. And then I saw people want to confuse the two in me. And only because there were broken people around us that wanted us to be broken. Imagine when you're not broken and you don't realize that you're not broken until someone breaks you. And then imagine the people that break you think they can keep breaking you the same way. Like you're putting yourself back together the same. Nothing is ever done the same. And either you're going to break worse, sir, or you're going to break better. And because I am the type, when I'm sick or when I'm hurt or when I'm emotional, I'm not going out in front of folk in their face. Because every time I did do that once or twice, I saw what motherfuckers did. I saw them trample over me. I saw them use that shit to their advantage. I saw them talk all kinds of shit. I ain't getting not 1 ounce of sympathy. I mean, they were like, oh, it's a good time to kick a bitch. And I'm like, whoa, I see this. And I wanted to combat that with an actual argument or an actual fight. And then one day in my 20s, I said, no. None of you are worth my time. None of you are worth the energy. None of you are worth the effort. It was like, I mean, God has always spoke to me, but it was just instant. It's kind of like when you have a habit that you can't cut, but people don't realize you can do something so hurtful that it cuts that habit out of your life. And it's you making that declaration to yourself to cut that habit out of your life. And I saw the treachery from other folk. And I said, nope, I'm not fueling this. I'd rather leave. Because I could tell you all day how diabolical you are. And I could fight you constantly every single day. It won't change who you are at your core. Because that's what you would have to change. You would have to get sick and tired of your motherfucking self in order to change what's fucked up about you. And instead of me feeding what's fucked up about you, I said, I'm going to grow myself. I'm going to blossom and bloom myself. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do, even in my 20s, starting in my 30s, I'm going to see how far I can go. Blooming, blossoming, growing, changing, evolving, learning. I want to prove to myself, like, how am I going to show up for me? Because even if I don't have a mate, right? I can't be codependent on what I don't have anymore. Then I still can't be codependent on parents that could go any day, not because of what someone does. It's just a natural part of life. And so guess what it still puts right in front of my face? Grow anyway. It's like you can grow or you can sink. You can sink into depression. You can sink into what ifs. You can sink into, I thought this was going to be my, you can sink into, well, I was almost there. You can sink into all kinds of shit. Believe me, I've done it. And I kept pulling myself out of it, pulling myself out of it, pulling myself out of it, pulling myself. And I noticed certain people come back around, want to pull me back down. I pull myself out of it and I'd be like, nope, don't want to deal with you no more. And they know it. So they would send different people. And they know the different people knew it. Because I stayed fast on the same principles all the time. Oh, you down with that fuck shit? Bye-bye. Goodbye. You don't want to leave me? I'm going to leave you. Bye-bye. Because I meant what the fuck I said. No, you ain't got to see me. You ain't got to hear me. You ain't got to learn me. You ain't got to know shit the fuck about me. Goodbye. Because what men don't like for motherfuckers to do is fuck with their dick and fuck with their money. You think women don't like motherfuckers doing that shit to them? Oh, we don't. I don't like for a bitch to fuck with my money or my pussy at all. And a bitch could be a man or a woman. A nigga could be a man or a woman too. Okay? And even when I use them interchangeably, it don't matter your goddamn color. It's how you act. Okay? So it's one of them things where I said, nope, However, it turned people into sneaky ass, diabolical motherfucking trolls. So you know what you gotta do? People think rising above it is you being better than them. No, you're not better. I'm making sure to prove that too. I still talk the same and everything. That don't mean my mind the same. That's the part that's better. Our thought processes are not the same. Okay? Because I can use motherfucker in a way where it's going to be like, shit, bitch, let's grow. And you can be like, word, bet, let's grow. But you can use motherfucker and bitch in a way where it's like, shit, we're going to stay the same. Bitch, we're going to be rolling down the same street. And we're going to be doing the same. And you're going to be like, cool, I'm down with you. Let's roll up on such and such. Mine ain't the same. And it got to the point where people wanted to affect my body. It got to the point where they wanted to give me Alzheimer's early and affect my brain. It got to the point where they wanted to kill me off. And one thing I learned a long time ago, you can't kill knowledge. You can't kill growth. And you cannot kill the truth. See, the truth keeps standing regardless. All right? And I'm not just talking about facts on paper or facts of what people see. I'm talking about facts within yourself. Like, if you are known to go to work, why do you have to argue with people that say you lazy and you don't go to work? Eventually, everybody gonna see your black ass getting up, going to work. And they're gonna be like, well, she went to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and maybe took a day off. She keep getting up. She keep going to work. She went out of town and she came back. But she go back to work. Like, it's just shit like that. It's like when people wanted to call me a hoe, right? I ain't got to defend it. It's like eventually people that's watching me, because people watching me, they gonna see. They like, how is she a hoe when she ain't fucking nothing? She ain't got nobody that she fucking. It ain't like she can't get nobody, because we done sent people and people be approaching her and they be talking to her and they be love bombing her and they be saying different shit. And she could choose from 5, 10, 16, 20 people to fuck. And she not. So how is that claim even standing? You get it? Then when people say, "Oh, she ain't shit," she she don't know what the fuck she talking about, and all this running her damn mouth and da 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 da. She don't know nothing. When it takes intelligence to run a business, it takes intelligence to go to school. It takes intelligence to start a new business. It takes intelligence to keep getting up from death constantly, all day. Growth. People do not account for growth. People do not account for integrity. They do not account for resilience. They do not account for loyalty. They do not account for knowledge. See, while they want to sneak and take things that you can't see, they want to take my joy. They want to take my relationships. They want to take my love. They want to take my happiness. You know, and they want to take my knowledge. They want to take my resilience. I call it all back. Just give all my shit back to me. Because even if you can't see it, I know I had it. It's mine. All that shit is currency. Give it back to me. Energy is currency. Give it back to me. Who are you? Who are you? All right? And that's like in so many variations. Who are you? Like, who are you to think that you can play God in my life? Who are you to think that you can take things from me and I can't take it back? Who are you to think that you are better than me? Who are you? Because you are not being you. You are walking around here trying to be me. Who are you? Ask yourself, who are you? What are you? Why are you doing this? Do you understand? Once you start to ask yourself about yourself, that means you are accepting yourself where you are and you are willing to go higher. When you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror, when you don't want to ask yourself nothing, and then when you want to keep taking from someone else, you are terrified of you. That's because deep down you know how diabolical you are, and if you can just keep up the persona on the outside, things will end up being all right. And you know what God said? No, it's not. You know the reason why it's not? Because she's still alive. She didn't die. Nothing on her is dead. That's the difference between me and my copycats. They're dead inside. When you want to steal someone's joy, your joy is dead. That part of your soul has been taken from someone else. When you want to steal my happiness, your happiness is dead. And if I am happy, you did not steal it. If I am joy, you did not steal it. If I am love and I go out here and I show love, you did not take it. Okay? So, even when you take my finances and steal from me, right? Physically, which is illegal, by the way, in spirit and on earth and in hell and in heaven, all that shit, right? But when you do it, and I get up and I go out to work and produce more finances, my finances are not dead. I am not dead, and nothing in me has died. But in you, it is dead. Because you do not know how to produce it on your own. That is the difference. You must take from other people in order to produce a harvest. You're sowing weeds. No, tares. And then they're not growing, but they're weeds too. It's like weeds like the weed killer. That's what I meant by that. Not wheat. Okay? But you're not sowing anything because you refuse to grow and you refuse to unlock and open parts of yourself because you are afraid of the emotional, the transformational, the undergoing process that happens when you do that. That's the difference. I'm not afraid of any of it at all. And I realized when I was afraid, it was projection. Because I was like, wait, I didn't have this feeling before. I mean, I would get certain feelings and I would be like, where the fuck is this shit coming from? How am I getting this? Why am I feeling like this all of a sudden? Because I might have had a totally different feeling like 2 seconds ago or a minute ago. And it's like, how? I realized, oh, people are doing this. Now I need to look and figure out who the people are doing this. And with any form of magic, you got to be close. You can't be far away doing it. And the ones that can do this far away, they know your vessel is just as open as the damn ocean. And that's what mine was. When you are younger, yes, you're going to be naive, gullible, and open. Because you think everybody love you. So even when they said shit about me, like, oh, I'm going to get her. She's so green. Because I thought you were coming with some true intentions. And I don't masquerade in negativity. And so what I had to understand was you're masquerading in positivity. And that's really not who you are. And so once I saw it and I understood, I said, okay, that's her or that's him, And I had to learn how to close those doors. I didn't understand that. I had to understand spirit. And so then that's when the hits started coming to my head because I started to understand spirit. Everything that I took the time out to understand, I want everyone to know this lifetime, nobody wanted me to do that. Nobody. They thought all the magic they did was going to seal it, lock it in, close it down, shut it off, and it never would open again, right? However, I would talk about it opening. You know how I would talk about it? Because God talked to me. I'm like, God came to me. This event, that event, this happened, that happened. And they'll be like, whatever. Da, 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 da. But then them motherfuckers behind the scenes doing spell work. You have to understand You're magical. And when you don't accept your magic, it's like it's dead. And to the devil, when it's dead, they can steal it. They can take it. What if you are like me? Very powerful. That it can control the universe. You know? And if you are like me, meaning knowing you can control that and you don't use it for negative practices, they will attack you more. You know? And what you do, you keep elevating, growing. Because it's like the pit is down there where your little sexual organs and things is at in your stomach and stuff. But the more you learn, you grow from your pit. And you grow up to your heart. Then you grow up to your throat. Then you grow all the way up to your third eye. Then you go beyond your third eye. But the point of growth is, as long as you're growing, they can't stop it. God has a way of letting you know that you grew. And then once you reach a certain point, it's like they talk to your body. Then they start talking to your brain. And then they start talking to you. You know. And you want to get to a point where they talk to you. Ancestors, angels, or your gods, they are there. You just can't see them. You want to get to that point. You want to get to a point of knowing, reading the universe, understanding the universe. Because you are a universe yourself. And what you don't want is other people knowing your universe better than you know your universe. That is the difference between me and others. Other people were going off of my old universe blueprint. And so if I leave at 15 years old and I don't come back, but then when I do come back, meaning I come for family events and shit like that, or just to go out and hang out with people every now and then, right? Do you know me? No, you don't. Because you don't see me in my element. Okay? And then if I show people my element, right? They're in my element for a few hours, maybe a few days. And they think they know me. And they think they know my element. You just been around for a couple of days. Even if you were around me 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, 20 years, 30 years, you do not know me. Because I constantly change and evolve. I'm in something new. I'm constantly doing something. I'm constantly learning something. I'm constantly educating myself on something. I'm constantly making sure shit registers and regulates and changes and grows, evolves, flushes out, gets rid of, and I make sure it's permanent. Not to man's standing, to God's standards. And that's what you need to do. You know, understand that if you are magical of any kind of way, you are here to grow this place. You are here to move this place forward, not backwards. You are here to clean this place up. And the way you clean this place up, clean your universe, your insides. Go through your traumas. You know, if somebody knocked you over the head at 20 years old, you cannot still be holding a grudge. At 40-some years old. What? You know? And you should not still be manifesting for a person to get knocked in the head at 20 years later. Okay? It's things like that. You know? It shows that you haven't changed. It doesn't show that that other person hasn't changed. It shows that you are still stuck. You know? Now, if that person comes back to knock you in the head a second time, then you should think. You should think like, damn, am I that fucked up to where they want to knock me in the head again? You know? Because growth don't make you get knocked the fuck out. Growth is like enlightenment to everybody. They like, damn, that bitch grew. I like her. I like her growth. I like it on her. It looks good. Growth don't make you say, I want to fuck her ass up. No, growth don't make you do that. You get it? So, this is supposed to be quick, but it turned to an hour and a half. That's why I'm about to go. I was going to say I love y'all folk, but I don't know about all y'all. But I guess I do. Later, people.